This is your homework helper, Mrs. Anderson. Today I will help you with Lesson 1, Fractions and Division. Okay, let's take a look at this homework helper section. 2 truckloads of mulch are used to cover 7 playground areas. Each playground receives the same amount of mulch. How much mulch does each playground receive? There's 2 truckloads and they're going to be divided into 7 playgrounds. Here's our 2 truckloads. Okay, we're taking the 2 and dividing by 7. So each playground, so one playground would receive this part, another playground would receive this part, and this part, so forth. So we count how many. Each playground's going to receive 2/7 of a truckload. And this number is between the numbers 0 and 1. So if I made a number line, and I put 2/7 on the number line, I'm wondering what whole number would be here and what whole number would be here. Well, I know that 2/7 is less than a whole, so I know that 1 would be here, so this one would be 0. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. 3 pounds of potatoes make 8 equal-sized servings of mashed potatoes. How many pounds of potatoes are in each serving? Represent the situation with a model and then solve. Okay, right here, if I have 3 pounds of potatoes and I divide them into 8 equal servings, I could do that this way, I guess. Okay, and then number them. And basically I'd have 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. That's going to be 3/8. Okay, so each serving uses 3 pounds of uses 3/8 pounds of potatoes. And when I take this 3 divided by 8, I'm basically changing this division sign into a fraction bar. But a fraction bar is also a division symbol. So I'm saying 3 divided by 8 or 3/8. Now, the answer is between what whole numbers? Well, a fraction is always, not always, but a fraction, if the numerator is smaller than the denominator, then the fraction is always less than 1. So that means it would be between 0 and 1. It would fit somewhere along here in a number line. All right, let's look at the next part. 1 large submarine sandwich is divided equally among 4 people. How much of the sandwich did each person receive? Okay, one thing that you can do that'll help you quite a bit is look for a group and look for pieces. Okay, the group is going to be the denominator. So I am going to put 4 on the bottom right here, and my pieces are going to be 1 because I have 1 sandwich. Okay, so when I think about that, I'm going to think, I can't take these 4 people and divide them into pieces. I can't take people and divide them into pieces, but I can take a sandwich and divide it into pieces. So pieces goes on top, and the group goes on the bottom. So let's look at this one. 4 gallons of paint are used to paint 25 chairs. If each chair used the same amount of paint, how many gallons are used to paint each chair? Between what 2 whole numbers does your answer lie? I have the number 4 and I have the number 25. If I look back here, I know that the numerator is pieces and the denominator is group. Okay, or the other thing I could say is group or the item that cannot be cut into pieces, that can't be put into pieces. All right, gallons of paint. I can divide gallons of paint into different pieces because I could put some here in a bucket, some here in a bucket, some here in a bucket. My other item is chairs. I can't take a chair and cut it in half and say, okay, here's half of a chair, here's half of a chair, and still have a working chair. So that helps me to know what number goes on the top, the pieces, and what number goes on the bottom, the group. Okay, and then it says between what 2 whole numbers does your answer lie? I like to use a number line and figure out what the whole numbers will be. Okay, number 4. Mrs. Larson made 12 pillows from 16 yards of the same fabric. How much fabric was used to make each pillow? Between what 2 whole numbers does your answer lie? Okay, So I have 12, and I have yards of fabric. 12 pillows and yards of fabric. If I'm making a pillow, I'm not going to be cutting that pillow into pieces. So this, I don't want this on the top. And here, 16 yards of the same fabric. I can cut pieces of fabric. So pieces, this is going to be my numerator. Okay, so on this one, I end up with 6/12. Well, my numerator is larger than my denominator, which means I can change it into a whole number. So I ask myself, how many times will 12 go into 16? Well, 12 will go into 16 one time. And then I ask myself, with how many left over? Well, 12 times 1 is 12, and then I would go 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'd have 4 left over, and my denominator is 12. Now, I can simplify 1 and 4/12, but that's not the concept we're working on right now, so I'm not going to simplify it. So my answer is 1 and 4/12, and then it says between what two whole numbers does your answer lie? Okay, so I'll make my my number line, and here I have 1 and 4/12. Oh, well, I have a whole number. My whole number is 1, so I know that this number has to be 1. So this number over here is going to be 2. So this number is saying it's 1 whole plus a little bit more than a whole. All right, you're going to fill in each blank with the correct word to complete the sentence. The numerator is the blank number in a fraction. You're going to write either top or bottom, while the denominator is the blank number in a fraction. You'll write top or bottom in that blank. Okay, and number 6, Elena drank 5 bottles of water over 7 volleyball practices. How much water did Elena drink each practice if she drank the same amount each time? So you'll take a look at each of them. I'm noticing that, okay, a volleyball practice, that's going to be our group. We're not going to divide it into a piece. Our water, we can pour some water out, or I can drink half of a bottle or a third of a bottle. So that one is going to be our pieces, and this will be our group. Okay, thanks for watching this homework helper video. If you have questions, feel free to ask me tomorrow at school.